See, it's on.
It's on.
Sean Fitzgerald from Observe What Is. I've got Ricardo. The subject of this video today is on business owners, and I'm interviewing Ricardo today. He owns 2 restaurants, and we're going to find out how he runs his business. It's be a very interesting interview. Ricardo, please, a little introduction from yourself, your full name, your age, and are you married, and a little bit about yourself.
The name is Ricardo Flores Coelho. I'm 63 years old, married, 1 child, and in this business for fun.
Okay, good. And is this more like your hobby, this restaurant?
It's more like a hobby, yes.
Enjoy.
Being a cook myself, I
Just yeah. So you do cooking yourself?
Yes, I do a lot of the cooking. I come up with a menu. I come up with new dishes, and that's the way it goes.
Now tell me sorry, I know I'm jumping ahead of this because this is now brought up another question. The food that your restaurant cooks, is some of it from you?
Yes,
is it all?
It's all most of it family recipes.
Okay.
Comes mainly from my mother, my late mother, and my late father.
So
they both cooked. We
okay.
The whole family we were cooking from very early age. My parents taught us how to, both my brother and I, to cook, and it's a passion that we have.
And yeah, that's really interesting. I wanted to ask you. So your restaurant is totally owned by you?
Yes, totally owned
100%.
by me.
Okay, wonderful. The nature of your present restaurants, please just give an idea as to what kind of restaurants. Is Portuguese restaurant, French restaurant?
It's actually a colonial Mozambican restaurant.
Okay.
We do the foods that we used to cook and eat in Mozambique in the colonial days, not present Mozambique.
Okay, so it's from Mozambique.
Yes.
And okay, I'm gonna thank you, Ricardo. I'm going to ask you: have you owned any other businesses in other fields?
I was involved with Kentucky Fried Chicken for 25 years. Eventually, I became a franchisee.
And what happened there? What was the
reason? Just got tired of the franchise group, dealing with all the people from overseas that thought that they knew more about Africa than they really did, and eventually, after all those years, decided to sell the business, and I was semi-retired when I got involved in this business.
Okay. Is there a lot of regulation in Kentucky? Is there?
Yes, which is good. Okay, Kentucky Fried Chicken actually was like a university for me because it taught a lot of background issues that I could use later on in this business.
Okay. Now, in terms of, Kentucky was also the food business, the fast food. So what made you get into the food business? I mean, is it, obviously you like cooking. Did I make a mistake?
Yeah, I love cooking. And initially I got involved with Kentucky Fried Chicken because when I arrived in this country, I didn't have a job.
Okay.
We had just left Mozambique after the independence, and that was a job that I got, and eventually
you just you bought a franchise in that.
Eventually, well, much later, but I had to go through the ranks eventually to become a franchisee.
Now, Mozambique, do you miss it? Sorry, I'm off the.
Yes, I do miss Mozambique because it was a paradise then. A lot of people, when they talk about Mozambique, what they think about Mozambique is Maputo, which is nothing what used to be the old Lorenzo Marques. But the north of Mozambique is where the action is. The best beaches in the world, the best prawns in the world, the people, awesome people, very friendly.
Is it still like that today?
Yes, it's still like that. Even though they've been through wars and all that, the people up north are still down to earth.
So you recommend people take a holiday to Mozambique, yes, the north side?
Certainly.
Okay. People doesn't know about that? They don't know?
A lot of people don't know.
Okay.
Although there's some South Africans that are now beginning to operate resorts up the north because they realize after going over there, that it's quite a country.
Okay. And it is safe to go there. I mean, they still have mines and stuff.
Land mines in certain areas, but they've been clearing it with the United Nations. They've been clearing most of the country.
Okay. And it's run properly now. It's a safe country.
Yes,
I
I
mean,
would
it's
say
not
yes,
dangerous.
yes.
It's probably safer than South Africa. I don't know. I don't know. Um,
Well,
okay, I'm going to ask you what. Thank you, Ricardo. I'm going to ask you. Sorry, we went off the topic
no,
there
no,
briefly.
that's no problem.
I just got fascinated by Mozambique. It happens
Yeah.
to me all the time. I'm talking to people and I find it and I want to ask them that. Okay, well, what are some of the challenges you face to start this present business?
This present business, I used to go to a pub on North Beach called Neo Cafe. I knew the owner, and he convinced me he wanted to go back to Portugal, and he convinced me to buy the pub. And not being a pub person myself, I saw the potential of turning it into a restaurant, and introduce my cuisine. I
Okay.
was bored, although I was semi-retired, I was bored doing nothing, and for the past 11 years, that's what I've been doing. Growing the brand and kept the name. That's all.
So, and I want to just, sorry, I think I'm going to ask you this later. I'm
Hmm.
going to ask you the nature of your menu and food, but I'll ask that later. Let's get on with this. I want to ask you that.
Yeah.
What are the present benefits to you for owning your own business in terms of money or
Uh,
freedom? Is there any
Present benefits
benefits?
is that I'm doing it while I'm having fun. I don't have to answer to a boss. I don't have to answer to a franchise group. I do what I want to do. I can change my menu whenever I want to change the menu. I can change a lot of things in the business to suit me
That
without having to ask for permission.
that's a big advantage.
It is a big
Would you ever
advantage.
work for somebody else again?
No,
Okay,
no.
once you can't take orders, and I met most business owners. You'll see from it, they just once they work for them, they cannot take orders again.
No,
Sorry, guys.
no,
Okay.
never.
So okay, the present challenges for you, Ricardo, of keeping your business running. Are you facing present challenges? Staff, money? I shouldn't mention that, but
Uh,
I'm just trying to get an idea of you.
Stuff is a problem in this country, especially
Okay.
because, and I employ in my kitchen mainly Mozambicans because they want to work. They've been through a very bad patch, and they've realized that to survive in this world you have to work. Right? I look after them. I pay them above average salaries. Local people, as much as we would love to employ them, do not show any interest. They want the money, yes, but they don't want to work. Time off is very important to them. They get a toothache, they take time off. They get a headache, they take time off, and they do not notify the employer. Things like that. It's annoying. If they have to go to a clinic, they take the day off. The Mozambicans have to go to a clinic. All humans need to. Um, they come to work. They
So
will phone us before the time, say it'll take so long, and they come to work afterwards. Although they're late, they come to work. It's big, big difference.
so there is a so you're saying in terms of work ethic, maybe the way the people the hardship they experience that they and
Yeah,
I'm not gonna pick my opinions, but they say also in China and Taiwan the guys
throughout the
work
world,
throughout the world seven
throughout the
days a week.
world,
Is our productivity low here?
very, very low. I have this feeling that after the change in government in this country, that people think they are owed by the world, and therefore they do not produce what they should, and they don't realize that by working hard, you reap the benefits. That's an unfortunate thing, and that's one of the reasons why foreigners come to this country from all over the world, from the rest of Africa, and they succeed until the locals get annoyed because they see the success and close their business down.
Sure.
It's an
So
unfortunate thing
it is an unfortunate thing.
because the potential is, yeah.
Yes,
We
potentially
have
is it.
uh, we've
We're more than enough people.
we've more than enough people. We've always said that South Africa was the America of Africa, and then what happened? People became too complacent. People just want to earn a living without working.
And I suppose you see this with the load shedding now. The
Yes.
preparation for that just wasn't on board. The
No.
skill level just wasn't
It's it
up to it with the sharing of this electricity.
it was you know giving houses and electricity when the country was not ready for the increase. It's
Yeah.
the same in the restaurant business. I cannot take on, if my restaurant sits 80 people, I cannot all of a sudden decide, hey, I need the money and let me accept 120, 150 bookings that I cannot cope with. And this is exactly what's happening in the country. They promised houses, although they haven't delivered most of it, electricity. They brought people from all over the world, allowed them to come into the country. A lot of them not legal, and all these people to operate need electricity, and the country is not geared up for that as yet.
That's an interesting point, and nobody's actually brought it up. And I think, Ricardo, that's a good point you brought up, Ricardo. The fact that giving all these houses so quickly and so soon, and the infrastructure wasn't up for it. And I think we forget that that's really what's where we're sitting with that legacy.
We are,
That. Yeah.
because the amazing thing is you go past during load shedding. If you go past the electricity, whatever you call it, compound, whatever, in Umgeni Road,
it's a substation.
The substation, yes. Right next door to them, there's squatters living. All those squatters have got free lighting because they connect to the main line. They never have load shedding problems. If you look at their houses, and believe me, I don't begrudge people whatever they can get, but they live in a squatter camp. 90% have got satellite dishes.
Sure.
Yeah, and that station will always be lit, and so are the people around them. So something is not right. There's a load shedding. There should happen to everybody. You go, and that's an unfortunate thing.
So I get what you're saying. Thank you, Ricardo. Okay. I just want to comment that the phone does ring every now and then. It's just Ricardo's his business. We can't switch it off because we need it. It needs to be transferred somewhere else. So just bear with that. Would you? Okay, getting back. You know, I always go on these tangents, and I love to. Sorry, my interviews are a bit unscripted, and I just. Okay. Would you recommend the restaurant industry to for somebody?
It can be fun, but you have to have a passion for the food. You have to have the passion to deal with people, because people are not the easiest to deal with. You know, I'm not an easy person. You know, and sometimes I do get annoyed with certain customers that come into my restaurant, and all of a sudden they think they own the restaurant, and therefore I must cook what they tell me to cook.
Do they do that?
Yes.
Do they tell you
they don't want this, they want that, and
do they tell you?
Yes.
They don't just take on the menu.
I don't change my recipe for no one.
But they don't. You can't go. I don't. I've never heard of people going to restaurants and telling the owner.
Oh yes.
Do they do that here, Ricardo?
Yes, they do.
Wow.
And sometimes you have to remind them although they are paying guests, they are still guests.
Why do they do that?
Only God knows.
Because I mean, we don't do it. If we go to a restaurant and we see the menu, we leave if we don't like it. But we don't.
That's it. But don't tell me now you don't want this, you don't want that, because it's a recipe. To change a recipe, I'm not going to give what I'm advertising.
I think what they see when they see you is they see that you've made your menus from scratch from yourself, so they feel they can give their input. That's probably what it is. It's not like going to Kentucky where you know it's just preset. Doesn't matter how much.
Like sometimes I do tell people that they should go to a takeaway because food is not prepared in advance. It's cooked on order, and fair enough, if you don't want garlic in certain dishes, say, look, I don't want garlic. But when people come to us and they said, no garlic whatsoever, I'm allergic to garlic, I say, well, then you can't have my food. No, all of a sudden the story changes. It's not that they're allergic, they don't like garlic. Okay. Most of them are just scared that they come and eat here, and they go home. If it's a female, she might not have the courage to kiss the boyfriend because of the smell of garlic. If it's a male, he was not supposed to be here. He told his wife that he was going somewhere else, and he comes home smelling of garlic, and she wants to know, wow, what kind of meeting did you have?
Just shows you. Thank you, Ricardo.
Yeah.
Yes. What are the future prospects? Obviously, I know I'm asking this question of the restaurant industry. There's obviously a big future for the restaurant industry. Is it changing? Is it still the same? or is it growing in another way?
It's growing. Yeah, it's growing in a way where you're getting a lot of more small restaurants, which is very nice.
Yes.
Because you're getting different foods. But people must not come into this game thinking that they're going to open a restaurant and becoming multimillionaires, because it won't happen. You have to enjoy the time. You have to enjoy it, because we do spend time in the business, and they have to enjoy what they're doing. The minute, and there's unfortunately a lot of this in this game where people buy restaurants. I'm a owner of a restaurant, but they're not there. They give it to a manager. The manager is working for a salary. And the manager knows that tomorrow somebody comes along, makes an offer for the restaurant, buys a restaurant, and that manager ends up with no job. So the passion is not there. Unless the manager gets a cut in the business, it's just a job.
It's just a job for him.
And if you want to be a restaurateur, run your restaurant.
Well, I want to say something now. This is a good tip from Ricardo. I'm saying if you go to a restaurant, you sit down here, you ask for the owner. If he doesn't come out, leave that restaurant.
Well, in my case, most of the times I don't come out because I'm in the kitchen.
Okay, there we go. Well, if it's not on the premises.
But my kitchen does not have any doors. Both restaurants that I own do not have doors. You are welcome to walk into the kitchen anytime.
And I must say that Ricardo was very welcome to me when I came here. He came with a big smile. I had no problems talking to him. He was just like a down-to-earth guy. I didn't, if you saw him and just met him, you wouldn't know that he owned a restaurant, because he's just so down-to-earth. He's got no airs and graces. It's great to talk to you, Ricardo. Okay, I'm going to ask you this question now. Tips and suggestions, not maybe necessarily the restaurant industry, but yes, you are in the restaurant industry. Somebody wanting to start, 19 wanting to buy a business or a restaurant, or somebody 40, 50 got some money. What kind of pitfalls, what kind of challenges, what kind of things should they look out for in running a business?
Well, first of all, if you don't have the cash to start, banks are not very accommodating. When it comes to licenses, a lot of red tape. Liquor license is one of them. Everybody's looking for an extra buck. I refuse to bribe, because if you bribe today, it'll bite you in the back tomorrow. Because the person that gets 2,000, 3,000 rand from you today will come back tomorrow when time comes to renew the license and expect more. So go by the book. There are pitfalls, fair enough, but you have the patience. If you have the time and and you want to succeed, go straight to the top. Don't speak to the middleman.
Sure. Good advice. Thank you, Ricardo.
Excuse me.
Just off the top of your head, and I'm talking about not necessarily maybe your restaurant, but just of any restaurant that you buy. What would the person have to pay for a restaurant of like your sort of size?
To buy a restaurant offhand, not less than 1.5 million.
About 1.5.
Yeah. When you think that the franchise, fair enough, the franchise has got the name behind, it's got all the marketing behind, but you cannot get a franchise, for example, like Kentucky Fried Chicken today, for less than 3 million.
Is a franchise, compare franchise Spur compared to an individually owned restaurant? Is there a difference in quality? I don't want to pick on them, but is there differences there? Obviously, with a franchise, though.
Look, with a franchise, it's a recipe that everybody has to follow, but the franchisor is not checking the business all the time. So there's a lot of pitfalls.
There are a lot of pitfalls.
Yeah, you speak about Spurs, for example. Used to love Spurs in the past. I refuse to go to Spurs today because it's always the same problem. The length of time that one waits to start with drinks. They're quick to sit you down, then you wait for drinks, and you wait and you wait. Coming from the old school, from Kentucky Fried Chicken, I time everything. So my wife says that it's about time I change, but I think with age one tends to get worse. But I time everything. I time my own restaurant, and it becomes annoying. Then eventually you get your drinks. Then you wait for your starters, and it's not the case where they are busy. There are times where they're not busy, but it's still the same old story, and it's from one to the other, and it's an unfortunate thing. And the franchises, unfortunately, tends to just open, get the franchisee to run it, and then wait for a complaint.
The question I want to ask you is, but if what I'm saying is, it's really down to the individual that's running. Because if I put a Ricardo in a Spur, you would have that thing running.
I have that thing running because of the old
because
school,
of you,
because of me and
so
the old
it's down
school.
to the person, really. You need that type
Yes,
of person.
yes, it can be down to the person, but
The system is good, or
no, the system,
okay.
the system is good. There's no, otherwise they wouldn't have as many restaurants as they have. But that said, the franchisor, and that's one thing I hate about the franchises nowadays, is that they start looking at the money, not the product quality.
Okay.
If you go to a Kentucky Fried Chicken store today, you buy a chicken sandwich. It's so small that when I tell my daughter, you know, when I introduced this, because having been in the game for 25 years, I was one of the pioneers of the so-called rounder, and it was a much bigger product.
I love the rounder.
Today it's my new thing. You go to Spurs, their burgers are so small today.
Steers, another one.
But the price but the price has not dropped.
The price has not dropped.
And
you know, I used to love the Colonel burger from Kentucky. They took
Colonel
it away.
Burger, yes.
They took it away.
They took it away because the Americans decided that we were in the chicken business, not in the beef business.
That was a fantastic
burger. But that said, it was an outstanding burger. And luckily for me, I've got the recipes.
Sure. I want to say my opinion here. The Colonel burger, guys, if you've ever... I'm 49 and Ricardo's in it, and if you were ever an older generation of us, Kentucky brought out a Colonel burger, and I can tell you it was an outstanding burger, and it was a big size, and they just took it off the market. Yeah. It was one of the best burgers to ever come out of South Africa. We're running out of time, so
that's
thank
fine.
you.
That's great.
Is there anything else you want to add that I've missed?
Just
to all the viewers.
To all the viewers, going to a restaurant, first of all, you make your booking. Turn up. If you cannot turn up, have the decency to phone, because this is what kills our game. Many times we fully booked and then a table of 8 doesn't turn up. We try to phone them, they don't answer the phone because we know exactly what happened. They booked somewhere else and then at the last minute decide the whole group goes somewhere else. And this prevents other people from getting in. Customers get annoyed when we tell them we fully booked. But if we are, we are. And we give them 15 minutes, 20 minutes, they don't show up, then we give the table away. But by then we have turned away people. So think of the people in the restaurants, think of the staff in the restaurants, make your booking, turn up, or at least phone to cancel.
See there what Ricardo's saying, one of the most frustrating things is please just have some character. You know, if you say you're coming, phone until you can't make it. It's most frustrating for me as well when I have interviews with people and I go see people and they just didn't pitch up. So just try and make an effort with that.
Sorry to interrupt you, but in this day and age of a cell phone, it's easy to get in touch with people.
Correct.
Easy.
Correct. I'm going to now do a little expose on just quickly on Ricardo's restaurant. What makes Ricardo unique to other restaurants, and including the food you just said?
Well, it's mainly the food people enjoy. I do chicken the old Mozambican way.
Please, yes,
and it's what sells in my business. I'd say 80% of my menu is chicken. People come here for the chicken. Then there's the prawns, the calamari, but that to me is just an extra. And it's the comments that I get from people. It's always about the chicken.
The chicken.
We even have people coming from Mozambique. Black Mozambicans that come and they ask me to open in Mozambique because they cannot get product like that there, and simply because I remind them it's from the old days, not today.
So it's the chicken, guys.
The chicken is the great thing.
So in Mozambican sort of, it's prawns, there's seafood, there's no steak, there's no beef in your menu.
It's not a much. Pork sells very well, but it's mainly seafood with known for spicy, yes, because we were lucky. It was one of the colonies that had all the spices, and a lot of people call it Portuguese food. It is not Portuguese food because in Portugal they did not have spices like we had in Mozambique until after they gave independence to the colony, and people start going back to Portugal or going to Portugal. And peri peri, for example, was not something used in the Portuguese cuisine in those days, but in Mozambique, that's where we made our what we use for our dishes. Coconuts we use for our dishes. We had a lot of Indian influence in Mozambique, especially from old Portuguese colonies like Goa, and we applied that to our menus there. And today I still cook. I make my curry with coconut milk, with coconut. It's the way I've learned.
Thank you, Ricardo.
It's a pleasure.
I'm going to give Ricardo's going to give his details. I want you guys to come and try his restaurant out. Okay, we're going to start. The full name of your restaurant.
The full name is Neo Cafe.
Okay, and the proper address, the complete
address. The address for Durban North is Shop 12A, McCuton Avenue, Durban North.
And your telephone details?
Telephone number is 031 566. Oh, sorry, 563 5546.
Just repeat that again.
533.
Just get it there. Yeah.
With all these numbers that I have to deal with sometimes, and I never found my restaurant.
Just repeat
it's
that.
563.
So start again. It's 031
563 5546.
Do you guys have a website?
We don't have a website at present. We have another restaurant.
Yes, please explain
on
that
the beachfront in North Beach. It's Shop 1, Summer Square, Solaris Crescent, North Beach, and the telephone number there is 031 33 222 99.
And Ricardo's wife runs that restaurant.
And my wife runs the restaurant.
And your wife's name is?
Penny.
Penny runs the restaurant. So if you phone through, you want to speak to Penny, you can go on the YouTube channel, and you want to speak to Penny, you had Ricardo on the channel.
And both restaurants, we have Mozambican people in the kitchen. My kitchen manager in North Beach, his name Jose, real Mozzie.
Okay. Thank you very much. This is Observe. We're at the end of the interview. Thank you very much, Ricardo.
It's a pleasure.
This is Observe What Is. Please, if you like the video, please leave your comments and suggestions and subscribe. It's free. Ricardo, won't you just press that little red button there? I think that there, yeah, and just put the mouse over it.
Yeah.
See? Hang on, just there we go. Okay, press the button.
Yeah.
No, that one. Yeah.